Gavel. go. There you go. Okay. You just tap with my knife.
Okay, that'll. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'd like to start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We like to start each meeting with introductions. I'm Mark, KG5NWE, and we'll just start out with Eric over here.
I'm Eric, KI5BMX.
Melinda, KG5NWD.
Mike, W5MHE.
Johnny, KI5UQA.
I'm Jim Zinn.
Good to meet you, Jim.
He's actually expired, but he's WB5BAA.
Okay.
I was WB5DA.
Okay.
I'm Tim, KJ5BUW.
Raymond, W5RAW.
Adair, KD5DYP.
John, everybody big next to another thing. Woo! Carl, that 5YXL.
We'll start this one.
Jim, WA5UMY.
Okay.
Eddie, N5SUJ.
Ronnie, N5ZLU. Easily KJ5BXG.
Aiden, GUEST.
Joyce Williams, no call sign.
Daryl, KI5IJM.
Leo, N9QU.
Jim, KD5UVT. Aaron, KI5 really weird radio.
Dave, KI5HAM.
Julia, KG5SNW.
Mark, W5UGQ.
Batty, W5UGR.
Larry, KI5TV. JW5GBL.
Wells, KJ7YUY. Trent, K5XL.
Daniel, WB5U.
Catherine, I don't have one yet.
Okay. All right. Glad you all came. And then along with that, how many are here? Okay. Joe, you want to introduce yourself while you're signing in?
Joe, KI5OWA.
Okay. We didn't.
I'm Jared, I don't have one yet either.
Okay. So testing. Who's all here for testing? We got 1, 2, 3 people. And everybody general or extra? General.
Anybody?
Technician.
Okay. Who's available to VE?
For tech.
For general? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So y'all, after the meeting, Melinda, KG5NWD is who you'll follow or talk to, and she'll get you going. So we got VEs, and everybody needs to sign in for the sign-up sheet if you want to get anything at the end for the drawing. And then we got coffee and donuts in the back. Of course, there's a kitty you can always donate to if you free will offering sort of thing. And Betty Sproul brought cookies today. A lot of cookies. And Maury's birthday's coming up, and he's had continuous 65 years that he's had his license continuously. So that's pretty awesome. Sure appreciate you both. All right, approval of the minutes. There's minutes on the tables in front of you. Hopefully you all been looking at those. Any corrections need to be done on those? I'll give you just a minute. If nobody sees anything, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the last month's minutes. That was Eddie.
Second.
Ronnie? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Financial report, Adair?
Good morning. All right, so quite a bit of activity for the month of July as far as expenses were concerned. We did have some, for lack of a better term, club asset purchases. I think we purchased a couple of new canopies. That was the $414.76. Some parts to fix the club beams, things like that. We had a van expense of $136.04. That was for some repairs and maybe some fuel, I believe. And then we had our field day expenses of $364.93. That included the porta potty rental, food. That may have been all of it, honestly. So, pretty active month. Spent $915.73. It's good to see us spending some money, I think, honestly. And had a total income of $393.67 in membership dues, with a $5 donation, so we ended up bringing in $398.67 in July. So far in August, we haven't had any income yet. We have had an. I'm sorry.
I renewed right before I came in.
I saw that. I got the email, but you didn't make the report. So far for August, the only expense that we've had was we renewed the club liability insurance for $200, so we're good for another year there. And currently, that leaves us with a bank balance of $7,537.30 in the checking account. The 180 and 365 CDs are unchanged from last month. $410 in cash, leaving us with total monies of $14,232.05. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, sir.
When do the CDs mature?
The 365 CD did last month, end of July, actually.
You did one of the new rates? Good?
Yeah, it's like 3.25% or something.
5%.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've got a high yield savings account doing better than that. So, yes,
Did you say $410 in cash?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't make it to the bank to do the deposit from last month. So,
Oh, so just leave that at 300 for this month?
no, well, however you want to do that, I guess. I mean, I won't. I'll update the sheet for next month. It'll be back to 300, but.
Okay.
And then I don't remember. I think the 180-day CD, Ronnie, is like May and whenever the next 6 months is. Yes, sir.
I gave you a check in June,
Yep.
I haven't got the check back.
Yes, I know. That's my fault. I didn't make it to the bank, so I was telling Mark earlier that I needed to get that deposit made. There's 3 checks that I'm sitting on, plus some cash from last month. So that's my fault for being a little tardy on getting the deposit made.
I did it for 5 years, I didn't have any problem with it.
You can do it again if you want.
I might just run that.
Go for it. That'd be awesome. Any other questions? All right. Oh, I guess I should say we're up to 91 active members as of this month, so pretty good. I think that's either the highest we've ever been or hovering around the highest we've ever been as far as active paid-up members. We spent a lot of time in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and have kind of peaked here at 91, so I think we're doing pretty well. I'm sorry, what?
I'll get you to 92 at the end of the meeting.
Awesome. We'll look forward to it. Thank you, guys.
All right, like a motion to accept or approve the treasurer's report. Maury and Daniel seconded it. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, committee. Dan's not here.
Dan's not here, but I would like to say we are planning on next week, or next weekend, of having a mowing party. Sure. Might wanna have your saw blades on the weed eaters, but, the weeds are, Zach said they're not exceptionally high, they're up to the waist in areas, but just not trees yet. So,
Okay. All right, so does anybody
road
need
is
to
fixed.
they need to talk to Dan if they're interested in volunteering to do that? Is
Me
that-
or Dan.
Okay,
What time are you gonna go out there?
Probably as early as possible. I'd like to, I think about 9 would be good. I'll get with Dan on that, but I'm thinking 9 would be good to
Like
start.
meet at the gate at 9, kind of?
Yeah.
okay, David, you'd like to speak to the van?
Okay, on the van report, as you know, we have a brake issue and it's pulling. Went into it a couple of weeks ago, and we have a caliper that is locked up and is dragging the brake. So needless to say, it ate the front brakes up. So what we're going to need to do is new calipers, rotors, bearings, and pads. I did get a quote from O'Reilly's, and the quote total is $600.55. Huh? Just the parts, and
Rock Auto?
huh?
Rock Auto for parts?
I haven't. I was looking at doing something local in case there's a warranty issue. Plus the fact that Ford does use a couple of different rotors just to make sure that the diameter of the rotor's right.
I have a commercial account that can possibly get that some savings.
At O'Reilly's? Okay.
I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah. But, I mean, if we get approved for that amount and it costs less, and I've already got the lines, I'm not worried about the price of the lines. I got the lines on Amazon. They're, OEM line, or not OEM, but, they're not a Chinese brake line. I got those, I'm not worried about the price on those, and I already got the fluid to do the purge, so. But, I guess we can do a motion to approve that for a maximum of $600.55.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, I guess we're good on that. So, that'll be the,
Sticker on the van, has that been done?
that has not been done yet.
Do we wanna try to get it before September?
Yes, absolutely. Once I get the brakes where we can drive it down the road without fear of hitting a bar ditch, then that's when I was gonna work on that, and I think Adair said we can pull it into the shop and commence to removal. I do have some wheels, or a wheel that goes in a drill and is supposed to grab up all that adhesive and the sticker and get it off there. It's supposed to make it pretty easy. And I got plastic razor blades, so that'll make it good. Okay.
Is that orange stuff you used to take that off with?
Pure citrus.
Is that how it works?
Yes, air freshener.
I can't remember, we used to do something like that.
That's that, quote.
Oh, okay. For O'Reilly, something like that.
All right, I'm not seeing Tim here, so,
Tim said he's on a boat. Remember that kind of cruise? Poor guy.
He's in the North Sea. My tide's Pacific.
all right, so that's it for the reports. Let's see. All right, we're up to old business. Back to the old story, nonprofit status update. So I'm going to call Uncle. I've been messing around trying to figure out how to do these 990 EZ reports. You can go to the IRS website, and they supposedly have all these little blue question marks you can click on, and they'll tell you what you need to put in those blanks. And I have never been able to get them to work. I've tried different browsers and I've tried different operating systems and shutting security things on my computer, and it doesn't work. And then the other thing, I can't get a clean copy without all this extra stuff on here, so I don't know how they're going to accept that. So with that being said, originally talked to Kruckelberg and Company for them just to follow up on the forms I filled. At this point, I think what we need to do is just go ahead and have them do the paperwork. They have third-party software that they fill out and does all the double checking, and it's like doing my home taxes. I use TurboTax all the time, third party and piece of cake somewhat. So what I'd like to put a motion is that we go ahead and hire Kruckelberg and Company to go ahead and file the 990 EZs and just get it done and over with. I'm sorry I haven't been able to complete it. Pardon?
You got a dollar figure?
What we were talking about before, I believe, was $3,000. So, and with that being said, is if we don't get this done, we're gonna have to have somebody sort out things from the past anyway, and it's gonna cost that much or more, I'm sure, because we're gonna have to pay taxes, like that. And if there's a question about, we need to go ahead and keep our nonprofit status, because it allows us to do fundraising, raffles, and we don't have to worry about taxes. This is a big, bad learning experience that the club has gone through. But if we get this all straightened out, all we have to do is make sure we do the annual report, and it's literally, you just say, we have below the certain income, which is now $50,000, and you sign your name to the form electronically, and then it's done and over with. So it's, once we get this all behind us, it'll be taken care of. So what I would like is to propose a motion, if someone would make a motion that the club hires Kruckelberg and Company to go ahead and complete the 990 EZs for us.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, David?
Question first of all.
Okay?
Another $3,000 just to fill out that form?
Yep, we got 6 years of back forms that we have to do.
We have an
I
item.
filled that form out before and it took me 15 minutes.
But that was
Oh.
printed forms, not electronics.
If you'd like to do this, John, that'd be,
Oh, no, I just wanted $3,000 to do. I've hired lawyers before and ain't none of them that expensive.
the way this will work is, the bookkeeper, the accountant, actually, has a program that he fills out, and it checks the math and everything, so there's no mistakes. And that's one other thing, we do not want to make any mistakes on this. We want it done once. The attempts to correct this in the past, things were filled out, and they would have rejected it anyway because we didn't back file our years prior. So, and,
I rest my
Hey.
case, y'all do what you need to do.
yeah. It's unfortunate, but, big learning experience, but, we're
So
gonna
he's
end up,
gonna charge $3,000 to do all the back ones, make sure all the math is right, review all the numbers, and
yep,
make sure it jives.
yep.
And it's 6 years worth, right?
Pardon?
From 2016, is,
To 2021.
yeah, so that's 6 990s.
Yeah. John?
Jim.
I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay. I think the answer to this is obvious. Once we get all of this submitted, if we have occasional questions, they're not gonna bill us for extra consultation. That's probably something that they would do. Most professionals will do that without billing you extra.
Well, we have our lawyer on retainer, and we have not received any bills, so the retainer has not been spent yet. And she sounds like she's been very efficient. She's waiting on these 990s to be filled out because they need to be sent into the IRS, and then she wants copies of them, so, because she knows her stuff. She says it goes to a separate desk, and if you don't send in copies of the 990s, the IRS isn't going to talk to the person that receives the 990s, so you need to prove that you actually did all the back filing. So, it's good that we've hired her.
That
Any
would
other,
probably take care of it then.
yeah, once they're filed, there shouldn't be any problem.
What's the timeline on getting the status back?
I don't know, it depends on whether there's 81,000 or 87,000 guys, how fast they're working, I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, did I have a second? Okay,
Maybe a comment and a question. So I think first of all, $3,000 does sound like a lot of money to me. However, if we can get it past us, that's fine. There is about $1,100 of that original raffle money that was to set aside for fixing all this stuff for the sale of the radio. That is still sitting there. So, I mean, yes, $3,000 is a lot of money, but there's about $1,100 of that less of a hit, I guess, if you will, out of, just general money that the club has because of that. So, just some food for thought.
Okay.
And it's, at least we do have the money, right?
Yep. Any other questions?
I got one. Go ahead, Mayor. Is there any chance of getting a sort of itemized or itemized invoice of some sort from the accountant to find out what it'll be going towards? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I'm sure that when we get a bill, that'll be what happens.
They just said it could be 3,000, right? Or is it?
Yeah, you're probably gonna count on that, I'm sure.
Okay.
That's like a quote.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think to Aaron's point, he was trying to say,
It's a blank check.
do we know that that's all it's gonna cost, or is that gonna be kinda open-ended still? Or is that gonna be like the top end? And do we know what we're really paying for? You know what I mean? Like, is it broken down in any way, or is it just like
That's
$3,000?
That's real simple. You just tell the accountant I have $3,000. I have to go to the club.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, I think the hourly rate was $250 if I'm remembering right, so that's plus I think it was $125 per form for the computer software company.
Right.
So that's where the money's going.
That's like 1,000 just for that. Just the filing, that's 1,000.
Yeah,
6 times 125-ish,
yeah.
And then the 250 an hour,
So you mentioned till 2021, so is there any problem doing that to retire? So will there be something that goes on between 2021 and forward, or?
I filed 2022
Oh,
electronically, so we're good there. If all the back filing's done, then theoretically we're done. Yeah,
Maybe it's actually owed IRS or certain amount of money.
yeah. Jim?
Are we paying any penalties or late fees and all these payments?
Not at this point. We'll see what happens. Now, there is a $600 filing fee, I believe, that the IRS requires, since, yeah.
Gotta pay for their gun.
For some reference, I mean, that's only 9 working hours for them, paying for their time. So the filing fees plus 9 hours kind of puts some context to it.
9
Okay.
hours for filling out government documents.
If there's not any other questions, I'd like to call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Who seconded?
Thank you, everybody, because,
Who seconded?
either Trent or Daniel, whoever you want to give credit to.
Their name on the list.
All right, thank you, everyone. New business, the Route 66 is coming up in,
44 days? 42 days?
yeah, September 9th through the 17th. Does that sound right? I'd like to make a motion that, or entertain a motion to utilize the van for Route 66. We usually like to drive it out to Adrian at least once, if not more. That's the midpoint of Route 66, and allow people to make that contact. Anyone want to make a motion for that?
Motion.
David, got a second on that?
I'll second it.
Eric? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Come out there, they got good burgers next door.
Daniel, since we're on that topic, would you like to speak to that? Are you,
I can speak to Route 66, I won't speak to the van going to Adrian.
yeah, to Route 66. You want to come on up here? With-
Unfortunately, the 9th through the 17th is when Route 66 is, and I'm gonna be out of town again for work. I do plan to work remotely when I can, but I'll be out of town, so I won't be in Adrian. I need a volunteer if you guys are gonna go to Adrian to kind of organize all of that with the hotel owner and borrowing that field.
Don't y'all know the hotel owner?
Looking at the people who are talking to go to Adrian.
Yeah, I can do that. Ramona's
Okay.
cool with it.
All right.
Yeah, might add that they've been real good to us. They
So, have you guys heard of Route 66 on the air? Who has not heard of that? All right, so there's special event stations that work throughout the year on different special events. This one is for Route 66, and it goes all the way from Chicago to the West Coast. And we're on Route 66, so we activate as W6I, and anybody in the club can activate as W6I. We want to make sure that we're not stepping on top of each other though, so we coordinate who's using the call sign when. We have an Excel sheet. You just put your name in it, and that's pretty much how we do it. It's a pretty fun thing. If you've never worked a pileup, if you've never been on the receiving end of a pileup, then this is your great chance to do it. And all you got to do is log your contacts. And if you've never done that kind of thing before, there's going to be a bunch of people in here who typically activate as W6I. Ray's one of the ones who usually gets a lot of contacts. Did you get the most last year? I think you might have.
I got the most digital.
Okay. And let's see.
And I
Who
I
has
think I
done?
activated for the first time last year from home, and that was pretty cool. It's fun.
It's a fun day. And it goes like pretty much 2 weekends.
You know, I don't know why you couldn't do a lot of things like that. So,
Yeah.
just to say something, I grew up in western Kansas. I had a cousin lived in Tribune, Kansas. Nowhere near Route 66. Last year, the club in Tribune, Kansas picked up one of the clubs in Kansas that fell out, not doing it anymore. And so they're doing it, and they're almost on the Colorado state line up there.
Yeah.
So,
And
interesting stuff.
And I don't want to give you the impression that we have to operate from Adrian. That's something that the club picked up later. We've always activated as Amarillo. And so W6I is officially out of Amarillo and then maybe out of Adrian. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be in Wyoming, but I'll work my system here out of Amarillo. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really fun. Hopefully we can get more people to come work more contacts this year, and let's put Amarillo on the map.
Is the spreadsheet active yet?
It is not.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that until the next meeting, and then I'm going to pull it up and show people how to use it.
Perfect.
Really
That
good
way-
Slack. How'd you do it last? Is that where it was?
Website Slack. Website.
It was just, yeah, on one of the articles on the
I know
website.
it was great, yeah.
Any
Appreciate all you
questions?
do, Dan.
All right.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you for taking care of 66. If any new hams, if you haven't experienced a pile up and being on the receiving end, it's fun.
We can coach you through it if you're overwhelmed.
Yeah. All right. So, the next thing, upcoming events, of course, Route 66, September 9th through the 17th. And then the Panhandle Regional Planning Commission, prep conference is September 21st down at the Civic Center. Registration for that is now open. We're planning on having the van down there to display. You can go online and, let's see, registration now, link on website. So there's a link on our website for the registration.
Prep conference,
Okay. And,
21st.
and there's a registration fee of $25, and that includes normally coffee and donuts in the morning, and a lunch is included. All right, the next thing, just to remind everybody, if you haven't paid your dues, just get that done. Is there any, yes, Daryl?
So back to the, registration, if you are a volunteer, you check a box. I don't know, can we click on that link?
Well, I can probably answer your question real quick. This year, it's changed a little bit different. They're only counting volunteers as EMT first responders and firefighter first responders. They're not counting,
Texas races?
nope,
No, no.
unfortunately.
We're not a first responder. Oh, she was wrong about that.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a $25 fee if you want to attend. It's worthwhile, I think. If,
You get
if,
to see the new toys and
yeah.
stuff, none of it.
And it's good to be represented there, so. Any, what, David?
How many EMTs do we have that are volunteer? Other than like the volunteer fire department? I mean, volunteer means you're not paid.
No,
Right.
volunteer means you're volunteering for the event.
I'm,
I'm just, yeah, that's still
Well-
not right that they're charging on the others. I mean, are they gonna charge the Red Cross guys?
I guess so. She,
That's not right.
yeah. But that's not our decision. That the person that's running it that was their decision.
To dig one more deeper in that, setting up a booth, are you or
They're not charging us for the booth, they usually charge if you have a booth, or
But
if you're a vendor.
if you're attending a booth, are you or not a volunteer?
We do this all day long, but the answer is.
No.
Yeah.
You can,
Or
corner
express your,
Delaney.
Melinda talked a lot
Okay.
to her.
Anyway, that's the end result there. So, let's see, was there any new business that we need to cover?
Jay's radio.
Jay, would you like to, Jay had something he wanted to talk to the club about?
I brought a handheld here that I don't need anymore. I do need to, get a 2-meter rig. Anybody has a 2-meter rig and wants to sell it, be interested. And, I could trade this in with them, or if anybody wants to buy it today. I forgot to bring the manual and stuff, but I do have the manual. It's a Radio Shack, VHF FM transceiver. It's got high and low power. I can't hit it from where I live with my antenna. I live out in River Falls there, about like Tanglewood, and I can't hit the tower out here. I got in my car and drove out there, and I hit it and talked to some guys with it, so I know it works. So if anybody's interested, see me after the meeting. Appreciate it.
Okay, it's a good radio. It's just a handy talkie has a limited amount of power output that is limiting the problem that you're having of hitting from your place. So, if somebody's interested, it's a good radio. It's just
It's got a new,
just like it.
it's got a new backup battery in it.
Yeah, just like any handy talkie, you're going to be limited on range because of the power output of the radio.
Hey, Mark?
Yes.
David, Rick has tuned it, so it's tuned to the repeater and that, what's it, Dave, 520?
Yeah, we got the repeaters and simplex in it. And plus, the backup battery on it is brand new in it. So
Okay.
So it'll hold the memory good.
So if y'all interested in handy talkie, or if you have a mobile rig VHF that you're wanting to sell or whatever, talk to Jay.
I've got the charger also.
Okay. All right. Any other new business needs to be brought up? All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Joe?
I've got a Kenwood GS2000. Might as well say it's brand new. I've never used it. David and some other hams come over to the house and tried to help me set it up for digital or whatever. It's not ham friendly for me. I'm looking for the same radio that I forgot what his name is. Rod uses the Gacy 7300 or ICOM 7300. So I'm just selling one on. So if anybody's interested, we can get hold of me. Be it even the Slack. I'm on Slack.
Okay.
And that's a
Thanks,
good
Joe.
old radio, but it's a good radio. I have one, and it's a great radio, both UHF and VHF and HF all in one.
Okay. Eric, you want to pick the show?
Hello. Our original show today was about our SDR. We're looking at making an SDR, putting out at the Osage Tower. I was going to have it all working so we could stream it from here. That's not quite working. So we're going to talk about the wonderful world of FCC regulations. I know. This is actually something I thought was interesting. I heard about it, and I'm like, I looked into it, and I went down the rabbit hole. But you can go to the next one. This is talking about FCC docket RM 11953. It's a shortwave modernization coalition for rulemaking to amend the rules to allow fixed long-distance non-voice communications at 2 megahertz to 25 megahertz. The kicker is they want to take over shortwave that's unused in the United States and use it for high-frequency trading, for mostly for Bitcoin trading.
Up to like 20 kilowatts.
No, the kicker is it's 20,000 watts, but their antennas and everything up at the 200,000. And at 50 kilohertz spectrum, I think, essentially digital, encoded, encrypted, and you can go to the next one. Sorry. But essentially, they just said to the FCC's rule to modernize what they call modernization of unused data. That's their plan, because this will gain them milliseconds in trading. Milliseconds. Okay, go to the next one. Yeah, you can get that one too. But the petition seeks to put a 50 kilohertz wide, 200,000 watt signal immediately next to 7 different amateur bands, with weaker protections against interference. That's the kicker, is they want to change the interference rules so that they can get away with more than anybody else. And I'm not talking just us. I'm talking anybody else. And that was the big one. And this is actually, you can look, you just got FCC, Google that number. There were 808 comments. And I will say this, ham radio people are smart people. There are so many people out there with PhDs. They're just tearing this whole thing. That's the rabbit hole I got sucked into, was just reading all the comments. Some of them are just simple. I'm against this because of, this. But there are some doctors who 20-page dissertations on how pretty much will destroy ham radio, not just us. You can go to the next one. Like this is the actual one from the ARRL. We are limited to 100,000 watts peak. The petition seeks multiplication of signal with greater transmitted power and weaker rules that protect users. Essentially, they're going to have a lot of out-of-band transmissions. One of them was this one talked about. While they want to take up this much road, it's right next to the ham band, and just based off of the math, their spurious emissions can pretty much wipe out 100 kilohertz of some bands, of which there's only 300 or 400 kilohertz of spectrum we got. And I don't understand all the stuff that talks about the dB protection, but I think that's how quiet it is. It's how it falls off at the end. But this was ARRL.
They want no attenuation at the edge of the
Yeah.
In other words, they can just put a hash transmitter.
And that's exactly what they're doing. And that's to say, it's the whole way, boom. And it's like right up against ours. So of course it's going to roll off into our area.
Say nothing to the harmonic.
And then the next one. This was another person's thing that he talked about. This one was talking about as much as 100 kilohertz in the amateur bands that are only 300 to 400 kilohertz in total width, period. Yeah, and that's what. And then they said, well, we've had no people complaining about them in the past. We've had 0 people saying we've interrupted with anything. It's because, well, no, what it is some of the comments are like it's because it's only 100 watts. Their test things are only 100 watts. It's encoded with no identification, so even if somebody they don't know who to contact, And so of course there's no comments of anybody saying that it hurt them. Okay, next one. This is it's not even just ham radio people. This is Dr. Lindsay Marici. She's a radio astronomer. And then this is due to overlap with reserved bands for radio astronomy, of which only 0.00006 of the spectrum is exclusively allocated to their science. It has, again, no mitigation of problems. The next one. And then this one, when I copied the summary, it changed petition to peon. I don't know why. But this is the one, this guy was talking about, it violates ITU rules and regulations because they are a broadcaster, no different than Cuba, Radio Voice America, Radio Hannah Cuba, whatever. And it just violates a lot of international rules and regulations that that America has signed in signatories to. Take the next one, and that's it. But like I said, it was really interesting. Unfortunately, all the comments closed. Yeah.
So is the SEC requesting this, the FCC is?
No. The FCC, this company, this private company, the Modern,
Spectrum, somebody?
yeah. Well, there's two people. There's one of them, this Spectrum SMC has a alternative version that they're working on that doesn't have all the stuff that these other people do. They try to fit within the rules and regulations that everybody else has to follow. These other people, they want to essentially, the rules don't apply to us, they can apply to y'all because we got money and we're going to make money. Billions, because they did a microwave transmitting thing many, many years ago. It cost $1 billion back in the day. It made itself up in a matter of months. It paid for the whole thing, just because they get to shave those milliseconds off of the trading. And time is money. And unfortunately, the government listens to money. You see how much bandwidth they take, because AT&T, they go, AT&T give us $5 billion. We'll give you this spectrum over here. And we're secondary users on everything. And that's the problem. I mean, it's free, but
If it's gonna interfere with us, it's gonna also interfere with the military.
that's another one I say is the DoD haven't looked into any kind of mitigation of the DoD, because what it is they're going to have beacons all the time that transmit and check for how good quality of the signal, and they're going to automatically jump back and forth between 2 and 25 megahertz. Depends on what's the best availability. Yeah, of this, and I don't. From listening to all the arguments, I don't think the FCC will pass it. But yeah, they pretty much Flex Radio tried to say, hey, we want to hold. We want a 30-day hold so we can investigate it. The ARL did the same thing too, and they said the FCC was like, nah, nope, y'all waited too long, because they only the commenting period's 1 month, and by the time we hear about it, it was over. And
There's like a week left or something, 2 weeks left.
yeah,
Must have been on the laptop.
maybe, but what this one guy said, this is the same old line that they've used forever, because back in the days, it's all to do with trading of commodities and stuff. But they went from this to horses to try to go back and forth. And one of them, that's where the term cabling comes from. To cable something has to do with the horses. And then they moved to this, and then they moved to microwave. Then they moved to fiber, all to maintain an advantage. This is not something new. This is just a new take on an old story. But it's just something that we need to pay attention to, because it could heavily affect us. Yes, sir.
So there's really no action currently that we can?
No, the FCC. Well, there's nothing we can do. It's in the FCC's hands. The people who have already did their comments have said, these are the cons, and then now it's up to the FCC. The FCC. The good thing about the FCC is they do take their time. They usually don't do knee-jerk reactions to stuff. Because there's another thing I'm going to talk about after this.
I hope appointed somebody in there. A different subject, or this same subject?
Different thing off of this, but yeah,
Different subject.
off of the FCC, yeah.
I know Raymond's heard a lot of this, but there's a gentleman, I don't know if you've heard him speak, but I think I know when somebody's talking, actually they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman in Alpine, Texas, and I know Raymond has been on most of those Zoom meetings for West Texas Aries. This gentleman is from, he is from Alpine, Texas. And he's always on that meeting. He worked for the Chicago Board of Trade, maybe back in the 90s or 2000s, almost the early 2000s, I believe. But, oh my God, he shared with how all of that goes.
Mhm.
And if I'm correct, because you heard probably the same conversation that I did, that trading is having to do, obviously, with money.
Oh, yeah.
The
it's the
And
milliseconds.
a backup there of, okay, all of that, my other things are not going as fast, I can do this faster, and they wanna, oh yeah, I wanna buy that, or I wanna sell that.
Yeah, well, they buy and sell in the thousands in the milliseconds.
But back into the,
Make
back
pennies.
into the European side of the thing, that's where they're
All the way to
specifically.
Well, this is specifically to go from places like New York to Chicago.
But I was very surprised to find that that was at the root of that.
He talked about trading in markets in Europe too.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can put a fiber optic across the Atlantic Ocean.
No, there's fiber optics.
Yeah, there's fiber.
But what it is every
He
time
said that this is
Latency.
faster than any
It
fiber
is.
optic.
This
And
is.
So, and that's the reason they wanna do it, because they can trade in markets all over the world, Japan, Europe, all over, and beat.
Currently, yeah.
Yes.
And what it is while fiber, by lights, it's the same speed. As you go through fiber, you go through repeaters and stuff along the way, and that adds just fractions of a millisecond. Whereas this is just one big
Plus
bounce.
you have the velocity factor of the fiber.
Yeah.
So is this point to point or is it open broadcast?
They just broadcast. I mean, it is directional antenna, but they say one thing said is yes, if you're a ham radio operator and you are within 50, 60 miles of that transmitter, you're gone. It will just blow out your spectrum. Yes, sir.
Would there be any use in, seeing if our congressman could help us break on the FCC?
What's the timing on this deal? It's right away, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they pretty much already had their discussions about it, but
The congressman can't put in the comments after we can.
there's stuff that they can do. They can call people, and I say the ARRL just released a thing that horrible against it. I mean, there's all of our people are already doing what they can do, and I don't think when the ARRL says, "Hey, everybody, call your congressman," that's probably wouldn't be a good time to start calling. But I think as of now, it's just something we need to know and keep track of.
I don't know if we send a letter from our ham club to Ronnie Jackson and
Yeah.
say, hey, we need some help on this, can you help us? That was just throwing it out, I don't know.
I don't know if that falls into the non-politicalness. I mean,
Well, it's not really political.
I know. Yeah. That's a good discussion. We'll talk about that. I'll talk to Mark about that.
I will say, I posted some links in Slack about this. A lot of people with hair on fire, sky is falling kind of mentalities, and then a lot of people are kind of like, broadcast is nothing new at high power. I think the difference here that is unknown is it's a much wider signal than most. Instead of it being, they're proposing 50 kilohertz, which really in a digital format is very small. But when you're talking about most broadcast stations being maybe 6 to 10 kilohertz wide, that's pretty significant. I think the thing that people are probably getting confused is they hear 20,000 watts or 200,000 watts and they kind of freak out. There is some terms like power spectral density that they're using, and it essentially means like the amount of power at 1 kilohertz of that 50 kilohertz. So it is, they're looking at it spread across the 50 kilohertz spectrum, but it's an aggregate of each one of those 1 kilohertz chunks, and that's where they're getting that number. So it's really not quite as bad as they want to make it sound like it is. But YouTube University all you want, and you can probably find different opinions either way. I don't think it's going to wreck ham radio, but I do believe that it's something to be aware of, and we need to be protecting our interests.
But like I said, go to that docket and read those comments. There's some of those people, like I said, they're way smarter than me, and they are just tearing this up piece by piece by piece. Okay.
Well, in the past, you're saying they're tearing it up. That's all past now.
No.
Now they're just hashing what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and the good thing is the FCC goes slow, usually. And then the one thing I was going to talk about is there's another thing. I couldn't find any information. I heard it on the ham radio guys' website, and I started to look into it. But something has to do with the state of Texas Department of Public Safety, which would be the overseer of the Texas Department of Emergency Management, asked for the FCT to get rid of the symbol rate requirement, which is what we're all limited to 300 symbols per whatever. But even though with modern technology you can cram more, to move from symbols per second or whatever it is, to essentially baud, to frequency based, where we can, we have our little chunk and we can shove more data in there. Because if you look at on like a VAR FM, overseas it can shove far more data than we can in the United States because they don't have those rules. And this is the state of Texas asking. This is nothing new. ARL's asked for it. This goes back 10 years. But I think the state of Texas might be able to have a little more sway in it. What they're saying, hey, this is for our emergency management. This is what we rely on for disasters. And it's not just us. I think it was 21 states did submarine, went in with them. But that's it. Yes, sir.
Now I'm gonna ask Mark a question. Could I mention something that I just learned?
You just did.
I just learned it at a Zoom meeting, and everybody know who K5 RAV is? He's a doctor. That's his call sign. Anyway, he's from Harlingen, Texas, and he's a dentist. He's the former manager for the whole region, and he's not anymore. But anyway, he was on the Zoom call the other night, and it was real interesting because they have 100 miles by 60-mile chunk of land down in that area that's covered by a dozen repeaters. Okay, and what they've done is, weren't you on the Zoom call when he was talking? Oh, okay. Anyway, I just asked Adair. So Adair set up a Vera FM system here. I've not used it. I use WinLink through HF, but what they do is with this FM system, it'll repeat, and they set up a system in the National Weather Service there in Harlingen or wherever their National Weather Service is. And so what they eventually got to is anytime they use some report, a special report, and with WinLink, it shows exact location, so it does geolocating. You make a report through it on the FM system, and it'll show up as a message on the screen in the National Weather Service. And apparently they've went from a small computer to a 50-inch television screen, so that when a report comes in on Vera FM for weather, it is a black screen with yellow text, so it's real noticeable. Were you on the call?
And I'm realizing what you're,
So just something to think about is eventually it'd be nice if we had a system like that where you didn't have to go to the Weather Service, you didn't have to sit at the Weather Service, but you could report and they could easily see what you're seeing in the field because you've reported it by text through an email on an FM system. Anyway.
That's the way a hand report back to.
Right.
Immediately see that instead of having to read it out.
Right. You don't have to call them on the telephone. You send the email, it goes to their television screen or even a small computer screen. As long as they can see it, just something to think about, that be good to work towards. And anyway, what a doctor said is you can contact him, and I forget the other guy's call sign. I wrote it down. But anyway, they have a PDF that talks about how they set up the system. So it's like an RMS station at the Weather Service, which picks up all that email. So anyway, just thought I'd mention it. It's something. It's something to do. Yeah, I will get.
Find a PDF, post on site, we'll figure it out.
Anyway, I just wanted to mention it because we do have a Vera FM.
And anybody who has not signed on this?
If you query that, does that show up there or Brandon? What the FM, if you do a query on wherever you see those. FM.
I don't know. I've never run Vera FM.
I used to have a deal where whenever I was first trying to figure all this out, I knew Lubbock had one, but
Right.
at the time.
We got one. I don't know what the frequency is. Derek could talk to it. Okay, he doesn't remember. We'll talk about it sometime. Maybe 14507, he said.
Probably show up if it queries.
Okay, so thanks, Mark. I appreciate you letting me say that.
First number is 5.
Oh, the first number's 5. So we have a little giveaway that we usually do at the end of the meeting. We have a Spectrum laminated thing that may still be good. We don't know yet. There's t-shirts. Someone was nice enough and brought some golf balls and sticker and a pen. So number 5,
Maury.
Maury.
Hey.
You want a
Navy ball, golf balls.
golf balls,
No.
pen, or a sticker, or you're good? All right.
Roll again.
36 people on the list. Let's roll again. See what we get. Number's 28. 28 is Adair.
Yeah, you, bud.
What do I need to do?
Go pick a prize.
I'm not too proud.
Pick a prize.
Pick a prize. Pick a prize.
T-shirts. All right.
I started my, I have a door in my office where I started putting a bunch of stickers on. I never thought I'd be one of those guys that would like sticker your refrigerator or whatever, but I am, so there we go.
36. Number 30.
Put that on the back of your car.
Nope, my door in my office.
Ronnie Kerr.
Again.
Just draw again. I don't need any more stuff.
13. Lucky 13. Janice.
Janice.
Every single time.
What do you think David would like?
Yeah, I like this.
Okay,
I like
that'll
this,
work.
Cause I don't think I have this laminated and
That's good.
it's,
Good so you can read without your glasses.
yes.
I know you can read without your glasses. Yeah, 25.
Tim?
How about a shirt? What size you got?
We got a large and a medium.
Let's do a medium, I'll give it to my daughter.
There you go.
That'll work, because we got plenty of those.
She's actually gonna come to the next
We
one.
have smalls also. You just have one dog?
No, daughter. One daughter, and I have a son that he won't fit any of those.
Okay.
He's bigger than me.
Down in Plains Road.
Actually,
Right, again. 29. Eddie.
Eddie Wood.
He won last.
What do you got left?
We got a pen, we got golf balls.
I'll take softball, I'm not.
All right. Says Navy on them.
From your house, I go a long ways.
They've changed the name of the golf tournament.
They call those,
Actually,
I gotta be careful.
Leo Coleman, November 9th.
That's it, right there.
What'd you call?
got Navy on. I don't know, I'll kill a snake.
That would be me.
You want a shirt?
Do you want a shirt?
What size you got?
Large is as big as we got.
I don't have a long enough glove to kill a snake.
Thank you.
One more.
Number 1. First person on the list.
Tim's, no, that's.
Adair's already been called.
Adair's already been called.
They're on there twice.
Yeah, I signed him in this morning before you got here.
Oh. He never signs himself in, so I signed him in.
Mr. Hunt, you got anybody that wants a smaller medium t-shirt or have this?
Yeah, I got it. I got a Sparks picture somewhere, so give me a.
Medium.
All right, let's draw one more name.
One more.
Have a shirt, so your belly button.
Aaron Brown.
Oh, actually, no, you can't smoke.
You got a pin. That's it. The only thing left.
Pin or shirt?
Medium shirt.
Can you finish?
Couldn't call.
You can fit a medium.
Oh,
One more? Okay. Battery's almost dead. Keep going till it's out.
Trent? Want a t-shirt or a pen?
A small t-shirt. You got your choice of medium, small, or a pin.
I'll pick a small, who knows?
Give to the grandkids.
Yeah.
Say, wants to come with Grandpa to the radio club?
Hey, give two more.
Well, they're 6, 4, and 1, so.
All right. Appreciate you all coming. Testing, the people here for testing, get with Melinda. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Maury?
Yeah, and
Okay. And second?
Seconded.
Mike? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everyone. Talk to Darren. He suggests you do it online.
Okay, who's that?
Darren, he's at the desk. He's our treasurer.
Okay.
Darren Boucher.
Red pass, blue pass, green. Get all the bills coming in. What I use I've got a picture of it.
We've already authorized money for the SDR. We did that like many months ago. I was going to try to figure which month we authorized it in, but we had a vote for it. But I mean, pretty much, we just need to buy an SDR.
Yeah.
And like, this is the one I have.
What are we doing with it?
This is the SDR we're putting out at the Osage Tower. And we're going to have a website. On the website, you just go click and listen to the bandwidth.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And we, like I said, we've already,
Just refresh my memory, I don't
Oh,
remember.
actually,
I slept last night.
this was like 6 months ago that we authorized the money. I don't remember when.
Well, it's not that much, is it?
I would like to get a good SDR play one, but these cost a little more. They have another version, a newer version. This one does 2 different signals.
Okay.